our 280 acres of arable land. We live at Eden Farm with our two small children, Sebastian, 7, and Lizzie, 4. Our landlord is the Fitzwilliam Trust Corporation. In this presentation, I invite you to consider 5 points. But before doing so, I must stress that we are not opposed to renewable developments. But as with any planning application, location is the key, and Eden Farm is not the right location for this renewable development. Point 1, some background. My father, grandfather and myself have farmed the land at Eden Farm for almost 70 years. My father, John Sturley, took on an Agricultural Holdings Act tenancy in 1971, the year in which I was born. This tenancy is a 3-generation tenancy, of which I am the 2nd generation. This is a tenancy for my lifetime and for my children's, should they wish to pursue a career in farming. At the age of 18, I went to agricultural college to study crop production and crop science. I then gained experience working on several other farms to meet the right criteria to meet the land and take over the tenancy from my father in 2014, who I have been in partnership with since 1996 until he passed away in 2015. In other words, I have worked my entire life towards running Eden Farm. My grandfather became the tenant at Eden Farm in 1954. The land was in a poor state, but through hard work and investment, he turned it into a much better condition for my father. When my father took on the farm, he spent much time and money improving the drainage, the land, and my father helped frame the landscape and planted huge numbers of trees and hedges that still stand proud today. Together we invested in a new grain store and farm machinery appropriate to farm the 280 acres. This investment still continues today. So you see, the farm has been maintained, improved and invested in for over 3 generations, at great cost financially, physically and emotionally, in order that we leave it in a better state for the next generation. It makes us wonder what right people think they have to destroy 3 generations of work, investment, the soil, the old modern countryside and our business. Point 2, the land. Most importantly, the land at Eden Farm is some of the better land in the Rydale area, capable of producing a wide range of crops: wheat, barley, beans, oilseed grain, potatoes and sugar beet have been grown in the past. We'd be very interested to learn today what other sites have been looked at by Harmony Energy. It states that they regard this site as the most suitable for a development of this kind. Or do they simply mean that this land will enable them to generate the most profit? Of course, the reason such land is protected is to protect our farmland, our countryside, and our food security. The National Farmers Union estimates that by 2050, the global population is expected to be close to 10 billion. This means the farmer needs to produce 50% more food than we do today to feed the world. Now, we as farmers are constantly under pressure not to become too intensive. But proposals like this one will only increase the risk by trying to produce more food for more mouths from less land. Nobody's making any more farmland anymore. We need to protect what is there. As I've said, we are not against renewables. We're fully supportive of them and appreciate their value and place in the future. However, the wheat, the barley, potatoes, oats, beans, oilseed grain that can grow on this 180 acres cannot be grown in the North Sea, on rooftops or low-grade land where renewables can be sited. We must keep the good farmland for producing food and the low-grade lands for the renewables. If this land is taken out of food production, that's 40 years worth of food in this country we will miss out on. We must not let this be the next generation's problem. COVID and Brexit have highlighted the fragility of the food chain. It must be protected. We have our own green commitment at Eden Farm. For the past 20 years, we have recycled Malton's garden waste. We provide this service with another farm near Kirby Moorside. We turn the garden waste into compost, we spread it on the land as soil conditioner, reducing our reliance on inorganic fertilisers and stopping the garden waste going to the landfill sites. As with farming, this is a long-term operation and the benefits don't just happen overnight. This also means less road miles for the council lorries as they use the nearest farm to where they are working. Point 3, the landscape. The Rydale local plan states Rydale's diverse landscapes will be protected and enhanced. It states that farming and sensitive land management practices play a vital role in maintaining these landscapes. The Vale of Pickering is identified as significant and particularly sensitive to change. Right at the heart of this proposal is a public right-of-way enjoyed by many cyclists, walkers, horse riders. Most importantly, this public right-of-way forms part of the Malton to Pickering cycle route. This route was recently upgraded to encourage and attract visitors. This proposal would mean the visitors to the area would have to walk or cycle through the middle of 92,500 solar panels. There is no doubt whatsoever that this proposal will dramatically alter the outlook of the rural countryside in and around Old Malton. Point 4, the impact. If this proposal is granted, it will take away almost 50% of our arable farmland, but will reduce our net income by almost 80%. We invest thousands every year on the machinery, the buildings that are needed to run a successful farm, machinery which will still be needed on the farm, to plant, to harvest and to store our crops. But halving the size of the farm does not halve the cost of a tractor. We can't sell half the grain store because it's not needed. I could no longer earn a sensible income to support my family from this farm. It would generate less than half of the average UK household income, meaning I would be working for £5 an hour. We have been offered minimal compensation, but this is the absolute minimum, basic statutory compensation. This sum goes nowhere near replacing the 60 years of future farming income that my family will lose out on, and nowhere near compensating us for the 70 years of investment we have already made on this land. Point 5, the conduct. Finally, Emma and I were devastated when the land agent representing the Fitzwilliam Trust broke the news to us in less than a 30-minute meeting that our landlord intended to take almost half our farmland and 50 acres from a neighbouring farm. My family have been the custodians of this land for 3 generations, and as I've said, we've nurtured, respected and improved this landscape. We've kept to our side of the bargain. The agent suggested that as a result of losing this land, I should simply find work elsewhere. That was his solution. Just before Christmas last year, we were informed that surveys were to take place on this land. I told them it was too wet as we had had heavy rainfall that autumn, and too much damage would occur to the recently planted crops. But I was labelled as being obstructed by the Trust's land agent and immediately threatened with court action. We have had no consultation with the landowner directly. This is despite our best efforts to contact our landowner twice. From the very outset, the conduct of the land agent and Harmony Energy has been disgraceful. It's time we were treated with the respect we deserve. These soils, the old Malton countryside and our business are not broken. We must keep it that way. This proposal has no right to create these problems for the next generation and no right to destroy our livelihoods. The food supply chain is not broken and it must remain this way. Our food security is of the utmost importance for an ever-increasing population. Thank you for your time.